Absolutely. Is he better than Floyd Mayweather right now?
I'm not going to sit up here and say that. I think that Floyd Mayweather was such a magician defensively. And we have to look at Floyd Money Mayweather in this regard. Once he moved up to welterweight, his hands were always damaged. So he kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to knock you out for the most part. And still, he walked into the ring.
What go from here? Does he continue at 168 or does he go back down to 154?
I think he goes back down to 154. The Charlos of the world, fight them.
Sebastian Fundora.
But I don't think he stays at super middleweight unless he wants to fight David Benavidez, and I don't think anybody wants to fight. And put on masterful performances because he was so superior skill-wise and defensively. You can't say enough. Tonight with Crawford, for example, we saw him take a punch on several occasions. With Floyd, we didn't see that too often.
All right, Steven, what's your reaction to this victory? Terence Crawford was sensational. What's your reaction?
Not surprised. I'm picking the win by decision coming in this fight. Watching Canelo, seeing his career, expected he wasn't going to get knocked out, especially by the smaller man. But did Crawford have enough power and boxing skill to keep Canelo off of him to some degree? For the most part, that answer was yes. But then he stepped in there and he exchanged back and forth on several occasions and survived and prospered. And I got to give credit where credit is due. I picked him to win by decision, but I never expected.
Alright, fellas. Canelo and Crawford. It's finally happened. That almost unbelievable matchup, the one we're all still a little bit stunned to see realized, just unfolded before our eyes. We witnessed two of the absolute greats of our generation share the ring, and the questions leading up to this fight were massive. Would Crawford be able to adapt to the weight class? Could he withstand the raw power that Canelo brings? And for Canelo, a fighter who's been under intense scrutiny lately, could he deliver that statement performance, the one that would silence all the criticism surrounding his more recent fights? Well, we got answers. We got a lot of them, and we're going to break it all down. We're going to dissect what just happened, what this performance means for both men, and, of course, what's next. But before we dive in, just a quick reminder, if you're a boxing fanatic, if you live and breathe this sport, then you're in the right place. My name's Closter, and I'm here to bring you boxing content as it happens, keeping you informed every step of the way. So be sure to subscribe. I'm committed to keeping you in the loop. Let's rewind a bit back to fight week. Honestly, it was pretty subdued. Nothing truly unexpected surfaced. That's why I chose not to cover it extensively. There wasn't a huge story to be told. However, one observation did become quite significant. The size difference between the two fighters wasn't nearly as drastic as many had anticipated. They looked remarkably similar in stature, and both were in incredible physical condition. That level of preparedness was something that was evident right from the beginning. The venue itself was a spectacle. Allegiant Stadium, hosting a boxing match for the very first time. The atmosphere was electric. Tens of thousands of fans packed in, creating an absolutely incredible visual. It felt historic. Now, the undercard was a mixed bag. Some genuinely thrilling fights interspersed with a few that were less captivating. But outside of the main event, the Imbi Martinez fight stood out as the most entertaining. Definitely worth a watch if you missed it. But let's be honest, everyone was there for one reason, the main event. After months of hype, relentless anticipation, the moment finally arrived. Crawford and Canelo, standing face to face, the intensity palpable, with only the referee, Thomas Taylor, between them, a crucial buffer in the theater of combat. Those few seconds before the bell rang, you can feel the energy. It's a feeling that's difficult to put into words. The opening rounds were cautious, tense, as both fighters settled into their rhythm, sizing each other up, probing for weaknesses. Canelo, known for his trademark slow start, predictably went to the body early, attempting to soften up Crawford and take away his mobility. Meanwhile, Crawford's southpaw jab controlled the distance, keeping Canelo at bay, dictating the pace. Those first few rounds were incredibly close, a tactical dance of feints and subtle adjustments. However, Crawford's sharper counters and quick combination punches seemed to give him a slight edge, even as Canelo tried to impose himself with those powerful body shots. You could see Canelo trying to land that signature shot, that fight-changing blow, but Crawford was elusive, slipping and weaving, frustrating Canelo's attempts. It was a masterclass in defensive boxing, the kind of performance that can drive an opponent absolutely insane. As the middle rounds unfolded, the pace did pick up. Canelo continued to dig into Crawford's ribs, relentlessly targeting those vulnerable areas. And Crawford, he was countering beautifully, punishing Canelo's advances with precise and well-timed punches. The 6th round was pivotal. Canelo had a slightly better round in the 5th, but Crawford, realizing he needed to retake control, came out aggressively in the 6th, looking to halt Canelo's forward momentum. And he certainly did. He started to assert himself, pushing Canelo back, showcasing his own power and speed. As the fight wore on, Crawford's accuracy and precision began to separate him from Alvarez. He peppered Canelo with sharp combinations, finding success both on the inside and timing his left hand perfectly. The rhythm, the flow, it was all Crawford's, and that's where it started to feel like more than just a competitive fight. It became a statement. Then in the 9th round, an unfortunate and sudden turn of events, an accidental clash of heads opened up a cut over Crawford's right eye. It was a momentary pause in the action, a glimmer of hope for Canelo, a chance.
What more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? You think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge.
However, Bud, as always, remained composed, a picture of professionalism and resilience. He didn't panic, didn't allow the cut to affect his focus. The championship rounds were all Crawford. His confidence was radiating, palpable in every punch, every movement. He was in full control, dictating the pace, showcasing his skill and experience. It wasn't a destructive beating, but it was a dominant display of boxing artistry. He was outclassing Canelo, not just in terms of skill, but also in terms of strategy and mental fortitude. It's a performance that will be replayed and analyzed for years to come. Now, what does this all mean? What does this performance signify for both fighters? For Crawford, it's a resounding validation. He proved he could adapt to a new weight class. He withstood the power of Canelo Alvarez, and he emerged victorious, cementing his place among the very elite of the sport. He showed the world he's not just a great fighter. He's a complete fighter, a master of all facets of the sweet science. For Canelo, this is a moment of reckoning. He's been criticized for his more recent performances, and tonight, those criticisms were amplified. He didn't look his best. He struggled to find his rhythm. He was outboxed by a superior opponent. This is a humbling experience, a wake-up call. It's a chance for him to reassess his training, his strategy, his entire approach to the sport. And, of course, the million-dollar question: what's next? The boxing world is already buzzing with speculation. There are calls for a rematch between Crawford and Canelo. There's talk of potential fights against other top contenders. The possibilities are endless. But one thing is certain, boxing fans are hungry for more. They want to see these great fighters continue to test themselves, to push the boundaries of what's possible. This fight will be talked about for a long time. It's a reminder that boxing is more than just brute force. It's a sport of skill, strategy, and mental toughness. And tonight, Terence Crawford displayed all of those qualities in abundance. It was a truly unforgettable night for boxing, a night that will be remembered as a defining moment in the careers of both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. A night where history was made and a new chapter in the saga of boxing greatness began. Thank you for joining me. Is now completely in Crawford's court, and that's a powerful position to be in. Canelo, on the other hand, faces a more complicated situation. He's not down and out by any means. He's still a force to be reckoned with, but this loss undeniably raises some serious questions. The criticisms he's faced recently weren't just idle chatter. They had a foundation in reality. And tonight, Crawford ruthlessly exposed those vulnerabilities. It wasn't that Canelo was bad, it's that he wasn't himself. The dynamism, the relentless pressure, the almost predatory instinct we're accustomed to seeing, it was just muted. He looked like a fighter searching for answers, trying to find a rhythm that simply wasn't there. The intriguing thing, and something that really struck me watching this unfold, is how similar elements we saw tonight mirrored his fight against Dimitri Bivol. That fight, too, was a loss, and it highlighted certain deficiencies in Canelo's game. The lateral movement, the constant need to adjust, the frustration of not being able to pin down his opponent, it all felt familiar. It suggests that perhaps Canelo's approach needs a more fundamental reevaluation. He's been dominating the sport for so long that it's easy to fall into patterns, to rely on tactics that have served him well in the past. But when those tactics are met with a fighter as intelligent, as adaptable, and as skilled as Crawford, they simply crumble. And let's be clear, Crawford didn't just win, he outboxed Canelo. It's a simple statement, but it encapsulates the entire performance. He wasn't just landing punches, he was strategically placing them, disrupting Canelo's rhythm, controlling the distance. He was a masterclass in boxing fundamentals, and the way he absorbed Canelo's power and continued to advance, to dictate the pace, it was truly remarkable. It speaks to a level of conditioning and resilience that Canelo simply couldn't match tonight. The fact that Crawford achieved this as a first-time super middleweight champion is just icing on the cake. Becoming the undisputed champion in 3 weight classes? That's a legacy-defining achievement. It's rare enough to win a title once, let alone dominate.
Do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So
the fact that he's done it undefeated? That's just extraordinary. It underscores the completeness of his skill set, his unwavering dedication, and his unrelenting pursuit of excellence. It's the kind of thing that gets whispered about in boxing history books for decades to come. From a purely strategic perspective, Crawford's victory also changes the landscape of the sport considerably. He's now in a position of immense leverage. The commercial potential is through the roof. Suddenly, a fighter who was previously a highly respected but somewhat niche draw is now a household name. The Netflix deal was crucial, absolutely vital to showcasing this fight to a global audience. And the victory itself? That's gold dust. It's a moment that transcends boxing, a moment that captures the imagination of a wider audience. The question of a rematch, of course, is the elephant in the room. Canelo has the option, but after this decisive loss, the pressure is on him. He needs to prove that tonight was an anomaly, a momentary lapse in judgment, a bad night at the office. He needs to show that he can adapt, that he can learn from this experience, and that he can come back stronger. A rematch would be a massive financial opportunity, but it also carries significant risk. Another loss would seriously damage his reputation and undermine his legacy. But let's be honest, from a fan's perspective, a rematch is what we all want. It's a chance to see these two titans clash again, to witness another chapter in this captivating saga. The first fight was a classic, a memorable encounter that will be replayed and analyzed for years to come. A rematch has the potential to be even better. And thinking beyond the immediate future, the implications for Canelo's career are profound. He's at a crossroads. He could try to reinvent himself, to adopt a new strategy to address the vulnerabilities that Crawford exposed. Or he could stubbornly cling to his old ways, hoping that his talent and experience will be enough to carry him through. But after tonight, that's a risky proposition. The element that constantly circled my thoughts throughout the fight, and which was somewhat overlooked by the commentators, was Crawford's movement. It was exceptional. It wasn't just about circling and avoiding punches. It was about controlling the angles, manipulating Canelo's position, making him work for every inch. It was a subtle but incredibly effective strategy. The subtle shifts in direction, the quick changes of pace, it all contributed to Canelo's frustration. The way Crawford would briefly allow Canelo to believe he was gaining control, only to then swiftly change direction and regain the advantage, it was masterful. And then there's the question of retirement. Both fighters are entering that stage of their careers where the end is inevitably looming. 35 and 37 are not young ages for professional athletes, especially in a sport as physically demanding as boxing. While retirement isn't imminent, it's a reality they both have to confront. For Crawford, the temptation to walk away at the pinnacle of his career must be immense. He's achieved so much, conquered so many challenges, but the commercial upside, as we've discussed, is simply too enticing to ignore. The increased visibility Crawford now enjoys is undeniable. His marketability has exploded. He's no longer just a boxing insider's secret. He's a star. And that level of recognition brings with it a whole new set of opportunities and responsibilities. He has a platform now, a chance to inspire and entertain a wider audience. Walking away from that would be a missed opportunity. For Canelo, the decision is equally complex. Does he chase the money, the fame, the glory? Or does he prioritize his health, his well-being, his family? The financial rewards of remaining active are substantial, but the physical toll is undeniable. The sport is brutal, and even the most talented fighters eventually succumb to the cumulative effects of years of punishment. Ultimately, the decisions these men make will shape their legacies. Crawford has cemented his place among the greats. He's a champion, a strategist, an artist. He's a fighter who embodies the very essence of the sweet science. Canelo, on the other hand, faces a more uncertain future. He has the opportunity to reclaim his throne, to prove that tonight was a fluke. But the road ahead will be long and arduous. He needs to dig deep, to rediscover his fire, to remind the world why he's been considered the face of boxing for so long. And one thing is certain, the boxing...
That performance from Canelo, from Terence.
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 38, 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo.
That's a fascinating thought, isn't it? The financial incentives alone are staggering, but it's not just about the money. It's about the platform, the global visibility. Crawford's stock has exploded. He's transcended the boxing world and become a genuine star, and the Saudis understand that. They're not just throwing money around. They're investing in something bigger, a brand, a spectacle. And Canelo, as the established name, brings the guaranteed audience. It's a potent combination. The numbers themselves speak volumes. The pay-per-view buys, the gate revenue, the sponsorship deals. It's a whole ecosystem built around these fights, and the Saudis are at the heart of it. Canelo is the draw, the foundation, but Crawford elevates everything. It's a symbiotic relationship, really. And putting Canelo against someone like a Eubank or Billy, well, it just doesn't have the same electricity. It's not the same narrative. It's not the clash of titans. It's a mismatch, and people want to see genuine competition. That return on investment simply isn't there. Then you're looking at the broader landscape of potential challengers. Hamza Shars is a name to watch, absolutely. He's a darling of the Riyadh season, clearly favored by the promoters. He's got the look, the charisma, the skill, and he's finishing opponents spectacularly, like that knockout of Balanga. He's building a reputation, and the writing's on the wall. He's going to get his shot eventually. It's just a matter of timing. I think we're looking at a few years before he's ready for either Canelo or Crawford, but keep an eye on him. He's going places. Billy Eubank, for a moment, looked like a possibility, but his situation is complicated. It looks like he's got to deal with that rematch with Martinez first. And frankly, that fight, let's be honest, that would have been a mess. A one-sided, predictable mess. Nobody wants to see that. It's a disservice to both fighters and to the fans. I'm glad that scenario seems unlikely to materialize. And then there's Bivol. That's a name that keeps circling back. The thought of a third fight, a trilogy, was always there, lurking in the background. But Better BF's management team seems to be actively moving away from that now, with Bivol needing to recover from surgery. If he decides that the trilogy isn't happening, if he wants to pursue a different path, then I wouldn't be surprised to see his name thrown into the mix again. But, and this is a significant but, he would absolutely have to move down in weight to make that fight with Crawford happen. That's a huge undertaking, a serious commitment, and it's not guaranteed he's even capable of doing it safely. Crawford shutting down that potential fight with Boots. That was interesting. It suggests he's very selective about who he steps into the ring with. He's not just chasing paychecks. He's chasing legacy. He's looking for fights that will elevate him, that will challenge him, that will make him a better fighter. It speaks to his dedication, his professionalism, his commitment to the sport. But honestly, looking at the current trajectory, I do see the rematch happening next. The money's there, the platform is set, and the narrative is compelling. It's just too good to pass up. It's a chance to solidify legacies, to create a moment that will be talked about for years to come. It's a sporting and financial imperative, but we shouldn't get lost in speculation about the future. We have to appreciate the moment, the sheer brilliance of what we just witnessed. Crawford didn't just win a fight. He delivered a masterclass. He put on a performance that has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. The level of control, the precision, the sheer artistry. It was breathtaking. He made a very strong case for himself. He's positioned himself undeniably as the best of this generation and a three-weight undisputed champion. It's hard to believe we're seeing it happen in real time. It's a rare and remarkable achievement. He chased greatness and he pulled it off. It was a great night for Crawford, absolutely. But it was also a great night for boxing. Nights like these remind us why we're all so passionate about this sport. The raw emotion, the athleticism, the drama. There's nothing quite like it. It's a primal, visceral experience that transcends language and culture. It's a celebration of human potential, of courage, of skill. And simply no other sport can replicate the feeling of a big boxing fight night. The anticipation, the atmosphere, the collective gasp of the crowd.
How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford to, like, there was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong.
It's a shared experience that binds us together. The energy is palpable. But now, as always, I want to hear from you at home. What were your scorecards? I'm genuinely curious. I've seen a lot of conflicting opinions. Some people had it a sweep for Canelo, others a comfortable win for Crawford. What did you see? What did you think of their performances? Did Crawford's movement surprise you? Did Canelo look frustrated? And most importantly, what do you see next for both of these incredible athletes? Are you clamoring for a rematch? Who else would you like to see them fight? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Your opinions are valuable, and I love hearing from you. If you did enjoy the video, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really does make a huge difference to the channel. It allows us to continue creating content, bringing you the latest analysis and insights from the world of boxing. Every like and every subscription helps us reach a wider audience and grow our community. It's a simple gesture that has a big impact. It shows that you appreciate the effort that goes into making these videos, and it motivates us to keep pushing the boundaries of what we can do. Yeah, thanks for watching, fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one. We're already brainstorming ideas for the next video, so stay tuned. It's going to be another exciting journey through the world of boxing. Until then, keep your gloves up and your eyes on the prize. And speaking of frustration, it's fascinating to consider the dynamics at play beyond just the ring itself. You know, we're not just analyzing punches and footwork here. We're dissecting psychology. We'll be looking at how these two titans of the sport handled the pressure, the expectations, the sheer weight of history resting on their shoulders. It's remarkable how often the intangible factors can be just as decisive as physical skill. Crawford's ability to remain calm, composed, seemingly unaffected by Canelo's imposing presence. That's a weapon in itself. That mental fortitude is something you can't teach. It's something you develop through years of relentless training, unwavering self-belief, and a deep understanding of yourself. And Canelo, undoubtedly one of the greatest of all time, seemed off, not physically necessarily, but mentally. He was chasing, he was reacting, he wasn't dictating the pace of the fight. He was fighting Crawford's fight, and that's a recipe for disaster against someone as intelligent and adaptable as Terrence. It's a testament to Crawford's mastery, really. He not only outboxed Canelo, he outsmarted him. Now, I'm seeing a lot of comments asking about a rematch. And honestly, I don't blame you. The desire for a sequel is palpable. But let's be realistic. Canelo has a long and storied career ahead of him. He's still at the peak of his powers, and he's not going to shy away from a challenge. But does he need to run it back with Crawford? That's the question. From a purely business perspective, a rematch would be huge. The buzz, the hype, the pay-per-view numbers. It would be astronomical. But from a competitive standpoint, it's a tougher sell. Canelo would need to make significant adjustments. He's going to need to reassess his strategy, his training, his entire approach to the fight. He's going to need to figure out how to neutralize Crawford's movement, how to penetrate his defense, how to disrupt his rhythm. It's not simply a matter of hitting harder or training more. It's about understanding Crawford's thinking, anticipating his moves, and exploiting his weaknesses. And that's not easy. Not against someone as cerebral as Terrence. But then again, Canelo is a fighter, and fighters are defined by their resilience, their determination, their willingness to face adversity head-on. He's overcome incredible challenges throughout his career. He's bounced back from defeats. He's proven time and time again that he has what it takes to reach the very top. So never say never. Perhaps a rematch is exactly what he needs. A chance to redeem himself, to prove that the first fight was an anomaly, a momentary lapse in judgment. Perhaps it's a crucible that will forge him into an even stronger, more formidable fighter. And let's not forget about Crawford. He cemented his legacy with this victory. He's reached the pinnacle of the sport. But champions aren't content to rest on their laurels. They're always striving for more. They're always looking for new challenges. What's next for Terrence? There's a whole landscape of possibilities. Other champions to conquer, new rivals.
We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing? Why are we still in the game?
Yeah, I get it. Andre, always.
It's interesting to consider the ripple effect this win will have on the wider boxing landscape. It throws everything into a state of flux. Suddenly, the hierarchy is reshuffled. The power dynamics have shifted. It's a thrilling time to be a boxing fan. Now, I want to zoom out for a moment and appreciate the bigger picture here. This isn't just about two men beating each other up in a ring. This is about something much deeper. It's about human potential, about the pursuit of excellence, about the unwavering belief in oneself. It's about the courage to step into the unknown, the resilience to overcome adversity, the grace to accept defeat. These are universal themes that resonate with people from all walks of life. That's why boxing, despite its brutality, continues to captivate audiences around the world. It's a microcosm of life itself, a reflection of our hopes, our fears, our dreams. And that's why nights like this are so special. They remind us of what's possible when we push ourselves to the limit, when we embrace the challenge, when we refuse to give up. They inspire us to chase our own goals, to strive for our own dreams, to become the best versions of ourselves. And that ultimately is the true legacy of boxing. It's not about the titles, the championships, the accolades. It's about the impact we have on others, the inspiration we provide, the lives we touch. I'm receiving so many questions about who else Crawford should fight next, and honestly, the possibilities are incredibly exciting. You're seeing names thrown around: Fury, Joshua, all the big names. And while those fights would be monumental events, I think it's important to consider what truly makes a compelling matchup. It's not just about star power or marketability. It's about stylistic clashes, about tests of skill, about opportunities to witness something truly special. You know, there's a school of thought that suggests Crawford might benefit from facing a more aggressive, come-forward opponent. Someone who's willing to trade punches, to apply constant pressure. Someone who can bring out the dog in Crawford, push him to his absolute limit. A fight like that would be a true crucible, a test of both his physical and mental fortitude. It could potentially reveal new aspects of his game, force him to adapt and evolve. But then again, perhaps he should continue to pursue the best of the best, regardless of style. A fight against Fury, for example, would be a clash of titans, a battle of wills. It would be a spectacle unlike anything we're likely to see again in a long time. The sheer size and power of Fury would pose a unique challenge for Crawford, forcing him to use all of his skill and intelligence to stay out of harm's way. The interesting thing about Crawford's performance is how seamlessly he blended offense and defense. He wasn't just dodging punches. He was using movement to create angles, to set up his own attacks. It was a masterclass in ring generalship. He controlled the pace of the fight, dictated the terms of engagement, and he did it all with an air of composure and confidence that was truly remarkable. I've been analyzing a lot of the social media commentary, and one recurring theme I'll echo is the frustration many felt watching Canelo. It wasn't just about losing, it was about how he lost. He seemed tentative, hesitant, as if he were afraid to make a mistake. And that's a dangerous mindset to have in a fight of this magnitude. You have to be willing to take risks, to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. You have to believe in your ability to overcome any challenge. And Canelo, on this night, seemed to lack that unwavering self-belief. Now, let's talk about the atmosphere in the arena. It was electric. The crowd was on its feet, roaring with excitement. The energy was palpable. You could feel it in the air. That's what makes boxing so special. It's not just a sport, it's a spectacle. It's a celebration of human achievement. It's a shared experience that binds us together. And that's why I love talking to you guys, engaging with you in the comments section. Your opinions are valuable. Your perspectives enrich the conversation. It's a community of passionate boxing fans who share a common love for this incredible sport. So keep those comments coming. I want to hear what you think. And that's why I love talking to you guys, engaging with you in the comments section. Your opinions are valuable. Your perspectives enrich the conversation. It's a community of passionate boxing fans who share a common love for this incredible sport. So keep those comments coming.